Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish, this all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit, how can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit, who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Hey, I'm Greg Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
Coming to you from different areas of Los Angeles, but
That's right.
our hearts are together, our minds are melded, and we're ready to do another episode of Childish.
I mean, I feel like I'm sitting in your lap.
Really?
No, I feel like I'm very far away. No, I guess it feels appropriate. It feels like I'm in Burbank. You're
Yeah.
in Venice.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was very opposed to this kind of remote way of connecting beforehand. I've talked ad nauseum at length about how I refused to do remotes on my podcast, but I guess I am adapting, which is what all humans have to do, and I'm making the best of it, but I still miss in person.
Well, we're not doing those shit ones where people just record their Zooms
Yeah.
and they put out their hollow-sounding tinny Zooms and they call it a podcast.
No, we're putting out quality.
Right. We got real professional recording equipment. We have a producer that mixes it and matches it.
That's right.
And so I think it sounds pretty good. And I love, look, here's the bottom line. We're both stuck at home with our families 24/7. If we get to sneak out and go into our offices alone and connect and talk to another adult for an hour, what's better than that?
I know. I showered and washed my hair, blew it dry, the whole thing for this. But I thought to myself, but why am I doing that? Because I really could just take my straightening iron, put it over the front bits of my hair. You would be none the wiser.
You would know, though.
I would know. But
I mean,
it's not
it's
like
like
you can smell my hair.
I mean, think about how much we do in life because we would know. How many ethical decisions that you make that nobody would ever know about,
Right.
but you do them.
That's
You
right.
do them. You know, if you hit a car, let me ask you this and be honest with me. Have you ever bumped into a car while parking your car, left a little mark, and then walked away without a note?
Okay, let me answer this in a roundabout way, which is something I find myself saying to my therapist a lot. I've never left a note. So I feel like I have, but I can't think of an example of when I've actually done that. But when I first started driving, I was not a very good driver. I feel like I've become Daniel has gotten into so many little fender bender type things. I have not. He also normally has a commute and I don't. So maybe it's just that he's in his car so much more, but I think of myself as a more cautious, safe driver. But I feel like I have done that before.
Yeah, I did it once, but the car was a piece of shit and it had dents all over it and I wasn't sure. I knew that I made contact, but I wasn't sure if one of those marks was mine. And I said, this person, they're not getting a new bumper because of me. This bumper's fucked to begin with. So I walked away, but I've always felt bad about it. It kind of sticks with me that I did that.
Have you ever left a note?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've left a note.
What kind of note?
A note
what does it
saying,
say?
hey, I'm so sorry I hit your car. Please contact me, and I'll make sure I straighten it out however you want to handle it. And then I write 310-725-8327. No idea whose number that is, but I leave that note right under the windshield. And for about 45 minutes, that person feels really good about humanity.
I test drove a car into another car. Do you know this story? I wrote about it in my book. Yeah, maybe that's I had this sensation that I have hit another car and I didn't do anything about it. And maybe that's what I was thinking of. So test driving a car many years ago, but I was with Daniel and I were married already. And I was with him and the dealer was in the car with us. So Daniel's in the back seat. He's in the passenger seat. I'm driving and we do the one loop around the dealership. We get back on the lot and he's like, why don't you back into that spot over there? And I'm not one of those people who likes to back into a spot. I am not good at it. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't see how much time it really shaves off. So I said, are you sure that looks really tight? He's like, oh yeah. He wanted me to see how good the backup camera was. So I start backing up and I'm looking at the camera and I'm thinking I'm getting really close to the other cars, I think, but like there's all these hatch marks on the backup because I had a really old Honda, so I couldn't really make heads or tails of all the marks on the camera. And then all of a sudden I hear this crunch. And then I say, did I just hit another car? And Daniel and the guy are both like, yeah.
What kind of car was it?
Just a Lexus. Here's my question. Why didn't these two guys say anything? Which is what I said. I said, why didn't anyone say anything? And Daniel said, I just figured you knew what you were doing, which is the most wrong assumption to ever make ever.
Well, what if he had told you, those guys had told you to stop and to be careful and they were going to hit something and you weren't going to, it would have been man speak and it would have been sexist. So you got to let women fail. That's what I've found in life.
So then we all get out and I'm like feeling terrible and I'm thinking I'm gonna owe for the car, or like I broke it, I bought it. What's gonna happen? And I'm like, has that ever happened here before? And he's like, no. But the guy who's wanting to sell me the car is so easy breezy about it. He does not care. So he's like, just come with me into the dealership, have a seat. So we sit down at a desk and then he has to get up and he has to help some other customers or something. And I say to Daniel, we have to go. We have to go right now. Nothing good is going to come from us staying here. Like zero is going to, like we got to go. So
meanwhile, he's got a copy of your driver's license.
I can't remember if he did or not.
Yeah, he did. That's standard.
I think he might have forgotten though. Anyway, long story short, I convinced Daniel we have to go. So we just eke on out of there.
No.
So then, every time my phone rings for like the next 2 weeks, I jump a little bit. And at one point it even is someone from the Lexus dealership, but they're just calling to see if I was interested in a car and if they have any questions to answer.
You should have said, I don't want a car from your place. They all have dents.
I know. So that was a thing that happened. And I felt bad about that, but I don't know what the but is. They'll be fine. I think they have a huge insurance policy for that. I don't really know. I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah. They're a big company. That's the other thing we do to justify our crimes.
Right.
I used to only shoplift from big companies. Chain stores.
What's the biggest thing you ever shoplifted?
Oh. Well, there was we did this thing one year. There was a golf tournament near a couple towns over from me. And somebody asked me if I would work at it. And they were paying like, I was a kid. They were paying like $7 an hour. I was like maybe 14. And so the gig was all these cars were driving up into the tournament. They were going to be the spectators. And they're all like Mercedes, Cadillacs, all these rich white people from Westchester County. And they're pulling up, and then there's a tent at the top of the hill that's got the programs in it. And they're like really nice bound programs that they were selling for $10 a pop. And so our job was, as these cars were sitting in traffic on their way up, we were supposed to go down and sell them to the people as they were pulling up to pay the parking fee to get in. So me and my buddies, we started doing it. And we realized that they were all stacked in this tent. And the guy was in the front of the tent with a table. And you would give him the money. And then he would give you like 10 more books to sell. And then you come back, give him the money, like that. But we realized he had them stacked up at the back of the tent. So we just started reaching under the tent and grabbing stacks of them and selling them and pocketing all the money. And I mean, we did it for 3 days. The tournament was 3 days. Mm-hmm. And we were each walking away with like hundreds of dollars as a 14-year-old.
Were you doing this like where was the location of your sales though? Were you doing it right literally behind him? Or would you sneak them out?
There was a road it was like a 1-lane road coming up into the country club. And there were like 30 cars backed up to get in. So we would walk down that line. So we were a little ways from him.
And he never discovered it.
The guy worked for the PGA, so he was like on to the next tournament. He would just like pack up his tent in his little truck, and he would then drive to, Maryland for the next tournament. And, I don't know how much money he would have lost, I got to think the PGA was losing money, and they got money to spare.
I have a question that relates to parenting, and I don't know. It might be too much about your kids' business, but shoplifting typically is a phase that kids go through. I think especially young girls, because I was such a goody know and even around 7th or 8th grade, went to Disneyland with a bunch of cool girls. I don't know if someone lost a bet. I don't know why I was with them. These were way cooler than my normal friends at that age. However, they were all stealing these like cheapo little rings from Disneyland. So I tried it too. And I did get a rush. But I have friends who stole a lot of stuff, which thankfully I did not get into all that because some of them got caught. But I just didn't have the intestinal fortitude for that. My question for you, though, is have you dealt with this with your kids?
Would I tell you that if that were the fact?
I don't know.
My son's friend is like a serial shoplifter. He was taking and he got busted at Magic Mountain, and he took a bunch of shit. He was just being a jackass, and he got busted, and they arrested him, and they had like a holding area, and his mother had to drive up and pick him up and bail him out, and he had to go to court and the whole thing. And so, I mean, I did it as a kid. I was relentless. I fucking stole all the time. I loved it. I got so excited about it.
Just the rush?
Yeah.
And you never got caught?
I don't think I ever got caught.
Do your kids know that you've done this? I mean, aside from if they
I
listen
wrote
to
it.
this?
I'm sure it's in my book. I mean, they know so much bad shit about me. Writing my book was the single stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. I almost had a nervous breakdown trying to finish it. It was, I completely alienated Howard Stern by asking him to write the foreword. My kids have read every bad thing. So every time I try to discipline them, my daughter said to me, she's like, "Dad, you bribed a girl to go to your prom by giving her cocaine." And I was like, yeah.
How did Erin feel about it?
She doesn't give a shit.
So wait, do you really feel like it was the single stupidest thing you ever did?
No, but it's up there. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't write a book.
Interesting. Did it bring any good things to your life or your career?
Yeah. I mean, it was good. It sold well. It made it into paperback, and it was a good excuse to do a lot of press and go around the country and do book signings at bookstores. It was something I wanted to be a writer ever since I was a little kid. Like I used to write constantly when I was a kid. And then so I was an English major in college, and that was kind of the thing I was going to go towards until comedy happened. So I think it was definitely on my life list. I'm not going to say bucket list. I hate that fucking phrase. But like it was something that I wanted to accomplish in my life. So I did do that. But did you have a hard time writing yours?
So mine was based on my syndicated column that I had beforehand.
Yeah.
So it was written ahead of time. Like there was some more editing. There was it changed it a bit, but the bulk of it was already written ahead of time. So no, I did not really have a hard time with that. I've tried 8,000 times to write books, and I do always have a hard time, especially because I came up in journalism where you have a deadline and it's finite. And so the idea of sitting down and writing something long form that I don't know if it's going to get published, or even doing a book proposal, but it's still kind of nebulous. Like that's hard. It's hard for me. And I'm not good at outlines. I don't outline. So what was your nervous breakdown that you almost had near the end?
Well, I was a staff writer on a TV show at the time, on Wanda Sykes' show. And I had a development deal with ABC for my own sitcom. So I had scripts to turn in for that. And then I was flying out most weekends to do stand-up around the country. And I was doing my radio show every week. And I just literally, physically, I don't know if I had a nervous breakdown, but it was pretty close. And I ended up getting medicated and going to therapy.
You were just super overwhelmed?
Yeah. And I had 2 young kids.
Right.
I
do.
It's too much.
Just wait for my low this week.
Oh.
It's similar. It's not dramatic, but I felt like I was going to have a little bit of a breakdown. I do have an announcement, though. I want to let our listeners know that if they are like, I love listening to them, but I need to feast my eyes on these two. We are now uploading video of our podcast. We're joining this century. We're uploading video of our podcast. Right now, it is at youtube.com/Alison Rosen. We may roll it off into its own channel, but for now, youtube.com/Alison Rosen. Go see how beautiful we are.
Yeah, my hair is getting long now. It's growing out. My daughter's going to shave it again for me today. But you look fantastic. Your makeup is perfect.
I did. I'm even wearing a bra. Again, what's the point? You can't. The nipples are below where you're seeing. But anyway, Greg, I did want to ask. I actually was curious. What's been the upkeep on the new bald do? The shaved head.
Well, there's no upkeep at all. I mean, I use shampoo just out of habit. I guess you're supposed to shampoo your shave. I don't know. Are you supposed to shampoo a shaved head, or are you supposed to soap it?
This is such a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the shampoo feels good, feels familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And but then hair in general in my house has gone out of control. My son has not shaved, and his beard, like mine, even though he has dark hair, or he has, I guess, brownish hair, bright orange beard, just like mine. And he, I don't know why, but he keeps growing it, and he's growing his hair long, and he's wearing a man bun. And my daughter decided, I told you last week, she dyed it like
Pink.
blood red.
Oh, red,
well, it's
yeah.
maybe pink, blood red. Yesterday, she comes out of her room, and like a 3-year-old, had cut bangs across her hair, which is long. And first of all, she only, for the last like 2 or 3 years, she has not been to a hair cutter. She cuts her own hair. And I guess it doesn't look that bad considering she has no experience with doing this. She just kind of does it. But this is bad. The bangs are bad. And so we
Go ahead.
We're starting to look like freaks around the house.
Now, are they super short or are they uneven? What is it that is like a 3-year-old?
Both.
Is she happy with it?
She laughs about it. She's the least vain teenage girl you've ever met. Like, she wears whatever she feels like wearing. Like, I'll just give her like an old shirt or old t-shirt. She doesn't like new shoes. She wears her sneakers until they're threadbare. It's kind of this look, they call it hesh. Have you heard of that?
Yes, you've mentioned that she is it a hesher?
I don't know. I know it's called hesh is the style.
Is she a visco girl? Do you know that term?
What's that?
Visco girls. It's kind of like what was cool when I was in high school. It's like oversized t-shirts, shorts that are so short it looks almost like you're just wearing a shirt.
No.
Scrunchies, water bottles, Birkenstocks.
What's a water bottle?
Like a Hydro Flask, I think is the specific brand. I am another old person talking about young people shit that I don't really know. It's just a style.
I would say it's
almost
hash.
like
It's hash mixed with skateboard, which I think are pretty close to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
And now there's a little bit of... She hasn't gone goth. Sometimes she wears like a fair amount of mascara on her eyes. But she looks good. I like her style. I think it shows a lot of confidence and sense of self that she kind of does her own thing. I like that.
Too. I think so too. I feel like I had a moment of maybe doing my own thing and not caring, and then it got just squelched by teenage self-consciousness and the voices that were like, no, you must conform.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to sort of find myself again. I know that you were having a problem with feeling like your kids weren't taking the lockdown or the sheltering in place seriously enough. How's that going now?
That's good. That's fine. It was, people get it now. I mean, California, you look at New York and Florida and how bad the virus has gotten down there. And California, Gavin Newsom, our governor, kind of locked it down early.
Right.
Especially Los Angeles. I mean, I think there were a lot more cases up north. But Los Angeles has been really tight and people get it, And so luckily we get along. We haven't had any fights. It's just been, they're old enough now where they can do their own thing. And me and Owen get along really well. We're like... working out together. He has these intense soccer workouts. He puts me through like ab day, leg day, and I'm always sore. But it's like an hour-long workout. And so we do that. We play, whatever. I'll get into my high later. But it's all been good.
Okay.
How's the normalcy around your house?
It maybe we're getting into a bit of a rhythm. We have started making a schedule, which for me is helping a ton. And it's something that I was people like advised it early on. This, when all this started, it was like, how do you keep sane with all this going on? And I had heard make a schedule down to the hour, and I thought, I get that that's a good idea, but that's not a thing I will ever do. But we have started just on a whiteboard, just making a list, mostly with the kids. So it's like Elliot breakfast, Owen nap, Elliot lunch, Owen second nap, activity, da-da-da. But just being able to cross little things off the list is helping. Daniel and I are getting more exact about, okay, I will take them for these 3 hours. Then you come on for 3 hours, and the trading back and forth. Because before, I think it was in the mornings we had ironed out, but the childcare was a bit nebulous in the middle of the day. So both of us kind of were both like on, but both trying to get stuff done. It was messy. So we've made that more clean. And I was actually saying to Daniel last night, if the only thing we come out of this with is a greater ability to communicate and to co-parent, that's actually a huge thing. That's a huge thing that we're coming out of it with.
I mean, that's a really good point. I think that couples and families are they're learning communication better. I think they're learning consistency, and so much of parenting is part-time parenting, because if you're working, you're only really dealing with your kid a few hours a day.
Right.
And to be around your kids and your partner all the time, it's like training.
Mm-hmm. I think I had mentioned before, although it's something I didn't talk a lot about because I was kind of embarrassed about it, but Owen was so bonded to our nanny. Uh-huh. When he first started saying mama, I wondered, who is he really saying that to? And just to fully give voice to all the thoughts that I am like embarrassed to give voice to, I thought, like, does he like her better than me? Does he think she's his mom? Am I just a person who shows up in the evening? Is she who he wants? Does she provide him comfort, not me? I had all those thoughts. And so and I always figured, and everyone around me would reassure me, like, no, he knows who his mommy is. She's just like his favorite aunt or whatever. But I figured this is something I will have to reckon with at some point. I will need to deal with the fact that I feel like I need to bond with him more. And so this has forced that to happen. And that's kind of a silver lining. Like my kids are very bonded to me at this point. We're still FaceTiming amazing. With her a lot, because I feel like she's someone that they saw, almost every single day. They love her. She loves them. I don't want that relationship to go away either. So we've been doing FaceTime. But yeah, I'm ass high in my own kids right now.
I've never felt closer. Since they were little, I've never felt closer because, I'm on the road every other weekend, and then you come home and there's sort of like a getting to know you period again when you've been gone. Even if you only been gone for 2 or 3 nights, it still throws off the rhythm. And, it's just I can remember being around my kids sometimes and feeling awkward. And that's gone. Yeah. I mean, all of that is gone. I just feel like we're all completely in sync. We're comfortable, and there's a flow. And, there's a lot of bad with this virus. Obviously, way more bad than good. But if this, like you said, if some good things come out of it within the family dynamic, then fantastic.
Right.
So let's do some news.
Let's do it.
Time for the news.
Good long one.
Okay.
It's over. All right, good. So this list came out. I can't remember which website. One of the news websites I read says there's 5 ways that you can sort of help your family deal with tension and claustrophobia and all that stuff. Stuff that we aren't dealing with at all because everything's great with us.
No, because we have perfect situations and
Yeah.
perfect lives, perfect families. One wonders why we're even doing this, if not just to brag.
We should just call it bragging about parenting.
Right. From two people who have it figured out.
Here's 5 things you can do. Number 1, start with empathy. Compassion and understanding can go a long way to bridge the gap between family members. Acknowledge that this situation is indeed challenging and how it may be tough for each family member. Consider everyone's perspective. Empathy. What better thing to teach your kids than empathy at a young age?
That's right.
Number 2, plan a family meeting to discuss triggering issues and solutions. Never liked the word triggering. I still can't really ingest that one.
Does it sound too whiny left for you?
Yeah, it sounds a little west side of L.A.
Right.
You know, yoga pants with an I voted sticker on, even though it's already January.
Right. It sounds a little bit like you identify as a victim who's being triggered. That being said, I do use it. What's another word for triggering that we could use? Because it's a good concept.
Fucked with.
Yeah, but I think it's more like it pushes your buttons and then sets off.
See.
Anyway, fucked with. Let's do it. That's good.
All right. Are your kids leaving wrappers on the counter when you've just cleaned? Is there loud music being played by somebody? Like, let people know specific things at a moment of calm, not at your heightened state where you're yelling and they're defensive, but, you know, really sit down when the family's all calm and together and lay it out and people can really hear that.
Can I just say, though, as a mom, I feel like somehow, and maybe this is not fair, but I feel like it's the mom who is always bringing this shit up. And I understand the idea of bringing it up in a moment of calm, but also at least I have this feeling of like, I don't always want to be a downer. So if everyone's happy and enjoying something, I don't always want to bring in all my complaints.
I think like a lot of parenting stuff, it's like instead of looking at it as a negative, like, you know, punishment versus encouraging positive behavior, I think you can say things like, hey, you know, I think it's great that you're enjoying your music. It would really be better for me if you could wear headphones or play it at a lower thing.
Yeah.
And let them, again, you know, bring empathy back into it and just say, I hope you can understand from my point of view, I like to read and it's hard for me to read when the music's too loud.
Right. That makes sense.
Carve out space for each family member, you know, a little elbow room. So, you know, just peripheral space.
What does that mean?
I think it's like, it's not just physical space, but I think it's sort of like I say to my wife sometimes, like my daughter was, you know, going out for a walk the other day and she was bringing an orange juice container and it had like this much orange juice left in it. And my wife was like, why don't you put that into like a water bottle or do you want, and she left and I went, Erin, fucking back off, you know, just don't say things that don't need to be said because we're all on top of each other and just give people space and freedom. If it's not exactly what they should be doing, that's fine. If they weren't around you, they would be fucking up so much more. Mm-hmm. Who knows what they're doing with their teenage friends? If the orange juice container isn't the right one, just shh. I would never shush my wife, but you know.
I am Erin and Daniel is your daughter so often, and I have to just be like, this is me. So people who watch the video will get to see that was me zipping it. I got to just stuff it because it's like I don't want to be the hectoring wife who's like constantly has a comment, but at the same time, so I feel like I'm being helpful, but it's not perceived as helpful.
Right. And you got to kind of think like at the end of the day, will this really matter?
Right. How did Erin take your message?
She gave me a little pushback, but then I think she gets it. I'm noticing her pulling back more.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
just, it's hard. It's hard. And I think it is true for a mother, especially my wife is a stay-at-home mom and she's much more used to being on top of everything. Mm-hmm. And especially since she's not seeing the kids all day, when she does see them, she's a little bit more on top of them. But now that you're around 24/7, you got to lose that energy.
But it's like that thing, like Daniel's mom, if whenever she's in town, whenever she visits us, if anyone leaves, she'll say, "Be safe, drive careful, be safe." And I think you have this reaction of like, yes, I am 40 something. I don't know why I'm 44. I've been driving for a long time. I intend to be safe, minus the dealership story I told before.
Right.
It's just that it's the parental thing of like, God forbid I don't say it and they forget for a second.
Yeah.
And I get it now.
Right. Have fun as a family. So, and allow for alone time as well. So, I mean, I think it's important that like you have games that the whole family can play. We're a game culture. We have been since the cavemen. We like to sit around and compete and laugh and make fun of each other and feel like you've won and deal with feeling like you lost. Play games. I highly recommend it. You know, whether it's we played charades the other night. We couldn't think of a game to play, and I was like, fuck it, let's just play charades. It was a blast. Broke off into 2 teams. And
what were the teams?
It was me and JoJo because we're sort of the pair. And Aaron and Owen are the same person, and me and JoJo are the same person. So yeah, it was really fun. So I highly recommend that. Finally, engage in stress-reducing activities. So, ride a bike, meditate, dance, draw, whatever it is. Like, everybody needs to do one thing a day that's going to just, because you can forget. You can cycle through the day and be on TikTok and do dishes and, get on the phone with a couple people, and all of a sudden, like, you're just a ball of stress. And so at some point in the day, I think around like 3 or 4 o'clock is a really good time to do it. And just take a little time and focus on yourself.
I have actually finally started using social media less because I realized I will wake up and everything's fine. And then I'll look at Instagram or Twitter, and then I will feel much more agitated. And there was nothing, because I saw something that reminded me of, it just said, it triggered me, Greg.
It triggered you?
Yes. It fucked with me. It just, I don't know. It just put me into a mind frame that was less calm than before. And then I think, especially now, there's really no reason to be doing this. Like, I don't need to be looking at it all the time.
Yeah.
So
Although that being said, I cannot put TikTok down.
I have not explored it.
I watch it for an hour and a half before bed. I wake up and I watch it for an hour. It is just, it's like my family sits down and watches America's Funniest Home Videos. We have since the kids were little. We always watch it. And it's like that, but more concentrated, because if it's a video you're not into, flip, next one comes on immediately. Right. And it starts to learn what you like. So, like, I like seeing overweight people fall down, and I like seeing, like, stunts go wrong. I like to see street fights.
Well, you're a real basic bitch, Greg.
Yeah. I like chaos. Maybe it's because the times we're living in right now, but I love chaos. And so it just feeds you what you want, and you can rush through it. You can save the ones you like and then go back and look at your best of list. Oh, I love TikTok. And I'm 54. I shouldn't be on it. It's creepy.
Have you posted anything on it?
No.
Are you going to?
I guess I should. If you want to follow me on TikTok. It'd just be funny to see how many followers I can get without posting anything.
But it's all really creative stuff, right?
Well,
I guess your description of what you like doesn't make it sound too creative. But what I heard is like
it's just somebody falling down a flight of stairs by accident.
How did they capture it on camera?
Because people are filming all the time. People are always videotaping. Like it's a birthday party, and then a guy trips and falls down the flight of stairs.
Oh my God, you're laughing just thinking about it.
I wish I could pull it up and just play you my favorite TikToks right now, but I don't think it's good for the audio listeners.
No, probably not. But I can imagine. All right, maybe I need to give it another shot.
Let's get to... Should we do some voicemails? No, we do highs and lows first.
Let's do some highs and lows.
Yeah.
Highs and lows.
Nice.
Do you want to start?
You want me to start?
I want you to start.
All right, my high this week is we've been me and Owen are very competitive, and there's not that many things we were playing one-on-one basketball, but then we were getting a lot of dirty looks from people, and we shouldn't be. And
But you're father and son.
I know, but we don't look alike enough, and I look so young that they just figured like we're friends. So, so we got a bunch of blocks. We have these old blocks for when my nephews come over, and we cleared off the dining room table, and we put the blocks, and we had 2 ping pong paddles, and we don't even have a real ping pong ball. We found this spongy one. And we play for hours every day. We just play ping pong and we trash talk. And like if I slam it and then it like flies over his shoulder, as he's going to get it, I'll be like, turn around, walk towards it, bend over, pick up the ball, look at me. I did that to you. Like, there's just insidious trash talk.
Then he does that to you too?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we're pretty even. I've been playing my whole life. He's such a jock that he can pick up a sport like that, and he's just automatically great at it. So like he'll win some games. He'll win a couple.
I have been thinking. I even looked into ping pong tables to see how much they cost because I'm like, now would be a great time to have a ping pong table.
Well, and you got the perfect yard.
I know. We really need one. They're kind of expensive. But if this goes on long enough, maybe. My parents had a ping pong table growing up, and then they just sold it out from under us one day.
Are you any good?
I feel like I'm pretty decent.
Is Daniel good?
I think so. He and I played somewhere. He's okay.
You played in Hawaii, I bet.
You'd think we did, but we didn't.
Yeah.
No, I think we played. Where were we? It's really not important. Maybe San
If you're
Diego
going to
or
live in
something.
California, you need to have a hot tub and a ping pong table. I don't care if you're broke. If you've got the room for it in your backyard, you owe it to yourself to have those two. The joy in your life. A lot of people, they go on vacations to Disneyland. They join a country club. Take that same money, buy a ping pong table and a hot tub.
He really wants to get the hot tub.
Yeah.
He really wants that. And you think it's safe with little kids because there's that cover that locks? Does it lock?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we need to do that.
And then in the summer when it's hot out, you don't turn the heat on. You make it nice and cold and they can jump in it.
Sold.
All right.
I'm sold.
You can have mine. I fucking hate it.
I thought you love it.
No, I'm just kidding.
But didn't you have a problem with it? Wasn't it leaking or something?
Leaking. Engine broke twice. It's a headache. So buy a brand new one. I'll tell you that much.
All right. And then how do you keep it clean?
We have a guy that comes.
Oh, is he still coming now?
I have no idea. We have no idea how he gets into our yard. We never gave him a key. And this guy just shows up and he cleans the hot tub and he tells us we were there. He tells us he was there. And we look in and we can see he was because the water level's higher and it's got a little chlorine. And I'd love to know how he gets in.
I feel like that's something you should find out at some point.
Yes.
But, he's
why
take all the mystery out of it now?
Yeah.
Is he attractive?
He's very attractive. And he does, the times I have seen him, he does it with a very tight wife beater. And yeah, he's a hot Latino lover. And I got to make sure that my wife, if she's going to cheat on me, I would imagine it would be with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like if I were to cheat on Daniel, it would have been with, remember the
Oh, I
porn
remember.
looking, yeah.
The construction worker.
Yeah. Yeah. Because was it you or was it was you? He walked past and you saw him through the window and you said, it's like a porn. And I said, I know.
No, I saw you looking at him walking by outside.
He was also a model.
Yeah.
He was a model who also did construction, but unfortunately very poorly. So Ray fired him.
You should have fired Ray for firing him.
He even had like a really shitty, you know how there's certain things that are so trashy but yet you're still attracted to them? He had the man's version of a tramp stamp, which was like a tribal tattoo around his arm. And I was even into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's a good high.
My low.
No, I go now.
Oh, sometimes we do high, low. We mix it up.
Sometimes we do sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
Yeah. All right. Let's do sock, sock.
Okay. My high. So on his own, Elliot wanted to wear underwear. So just to explain, there's different philosophies of how to potty train your kid. Some parents do. There's this book called Oh Crap Potty Training, which advises the 3-day method. And like, you just decide, I think they're ready. And then there's a whole system for how you do it. The preschool that he goes to, and just sort of the philosophy that appeals more to me, is you wait until they decide they want to do it, because then you don't have the power. It doesn't turn into like a power struggle. And also, especially now when there's not a lot of toilet paper around, I feel like I'm okay with diapers. He had shown some interest a while ago, and then he just stopped showing interest. And so I've been wondering, when's he ever going to show interest again? Because I do think he could be ready. I think he is ready. But then on his own, one morning, he said he wanted to wear underpants. And we put them on, and he was very excited about them. And he kept saying, I'm wearing underpants like Elmo.
Nice.
We have a potty training book. So yeah, and that was 2 days in a row, and he really got closer and closer to like the first day had a couple accidents, and the second day I didn't say anything, and on his own he's like, I want to wear underpants again like Elmo. It was so cute. And then he came to me and then I said to him, okay, and if you need to go to the bathroom, then what happens? And then he yelled, toilet paper. And I said, well, what I was looking for was he comes and tells me. And so then he came and told me I need to use a potty, and still didn't quite make it, but at least all the pieces seem to be falling into place. Has not shown interest since, but I'm just waiting for another wave of interest. So it made me feel good that it will on its own, he will want to do this on his own.
Now this has got to be bittersweet, because on one hand it shows some development, it's a milestone. Yeah. On the other hand, it's another asshole that needs toilet paper in the house at a time when it's very hard to get toilet paper.
I know. I think so we have some Scott 1000 ply, or not, Scott 1000 sheet 1 ply. It is the worst toilet paper.
Your asshole will never forgive you for that.
I know. So maybe I'll give that to Elliot. Do you use Instacart at all? It's like a grocery delivery service. No. It's very, very hard to get a delivery window right now. We had placed, an order like 5 days before it finally arrived, and Daniel was adding things to the cart, and he added some toilet paper. Because like, lo and behold, the store had toilet paper. It was 6 rolls. Just guess how much we got charged for 6 rolls.
$4?
$18.
They're price gouging?
It's gouging, yeah.
Wait, the supermarket is price gouging, or Instacart is price gouging?
I think Instacart. I don't want to say for sure Instacart is gouging, because that is illegal, but someone's gouging. Someone is hiking that price up. I looked, though, and our receipt says we received 9 rolls, and we actually received 6. But still, even for 9 rolls, that is a very expensive price.
So is Instacart associated with one supermarket, or they're just like Amazon? They just collect the goods for you?
They work with a number of stores, and they go to the store for you. And they have shoppers who go to whatever store you want, and then they put the item, then they buy the items. And everything is more expensive on Instacart. Like I don't think it's really surge pricing, but it'll say whether it's the same price as in the store or not. And usually there's an upcharge.
Right.
So, I think all the Instacart workers went on strike recently. I don't know that it's a great company to work for.
Right.
And the toilet paper is expensive, but hey, now we have 6 rolls that Elliot does not get to use.
Unreal. I think it's time for us to do the Lowe's. Jesus. Yeah, I almost feel like things are so bad right now. I almost feel like, why do Lowe's? But I guess we kind of have to.
I have a funny low and I have a real low. I can do my real low real fast, and then I can do my kind of funny low.
Okay.
What's your low?
My real low is that Erin has shingles.
Oh, no.
Yes. So they just broke out. It's not too big. The area is pretty contained, and she got on the drug early. There's an antiviral. But then she had a reaction to the antiviral where she kind of had little rash from that, so she had to get off of that. So we'll see how it goes. But she's in some pain and she's tired, but it could be way worse. I've seen people get shingles that are completely laid out for like a month.
Has she ever had shingles before?
No, I think if you've had chickenpox as a kid, then it's like a reactivation of the chickenpox, which she did have chickenpox as a kid. So it seems to be that.
Right. Most people had chickenpox.
Her doctor, she was on speakerphone with her doctor. I'm sorry, no, with her friend who is a doctor.
Oh. And
was describing the symptoms, and it's on the inside of her thigh, and she said, "Well, shingles is also a form of herpes. Has Greg been a good boy?" And I was like, "Greg's right here. Greg's a good boy."
Can we talk for a minute about the fact that everyone is in every room all the time right now? So anyone having a conversation with anyone needs to assume that whoever they're talking about can hear.
Yes.
For example, I was doing FaceTime with my mom, and she said she knew that we were not having our nanny anymore, and she said, "How's it going?" And I said, "It's okay. It's hard, but it's okay." And then she's like, "And is Daniel participating?" Mom, he's right there. And yes, he is. Daniel's really good about that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, the thing that irked me about it, Daniel is really good, but
did
it makes
trigger you?
I felt a little fucked with.
Yeah.
No, it didn't trigger me, but to me, what it said, it makes it sound like I have an ongoing conversation with my mom about
like
how Daniel
issue.
doesn't participate. But I don't, and that doesn't. And I even said to my mom afterwards, I said, from now on, assume Daniel was in the room, assume he was in the room. And she said, "Do you think he heard?" And I said, "I don't know." And she's like, "Why don't you let him know that I didn't mean anything by it?" And I'm like, "Okay, good idea." But I didn't.
And by the way, why doesn't he listen to you?
I didn't want to let him know she didn't mean anything by it in case he actually didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, again, everyone's listening all the time. So anyway, but you have been a good boy.
I've been a very good boy. And I don't even know where I would have given it to her, because since this quarantine started, there's been no action whatsoever.
Right. People have talked about that. Like, what is happening for people who are in unhappy marriages but who are having affairs? Like, they can't.
I know. They have to have sex with their own spouse, God forbid, and fantasize about the other person.
On a serious note, I mean, that is a serious note. I was thinking, think how tough that would be right now if you're in a relationship where that relationship is on its last legs, or maybe you've made up your mind that you don't want to be with that person, whether you've told them or not, and now you're stuck together. Like, that would suck. We are lucky.
I see. Like, you were getting ready to move out, and now you can't move out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a small apartment. You live in New York City in a studio. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. That'd be very unpleasant. Okay, my low. And note the way, in order to get out from under you saying, let's not focus on the negative, I'm like, my solution is I have two lows.
Good for you.
But my real low was I felt like I was having a little bit of a breakdown. It was very similar to postpartum depression. I just hit this point where I'm like, I cannot do this. I don't think I can do this. I can't be an adult right now. I just want to curl up into a ball, and I want my parents to take care of me. And by the way, not even my parents as they are now, like my dream of what my parents could be. Like, I just want other adults to take care of me so that I can be a child, because I can't be responsible right now.
So you want parents to take care of you, just not your parents.
Right. Right. And I felt like I was going to cry, but I didn't. And then it's because it was like, it was about to be my turn to take care of the kids. And I felt like I didn't have enough of a break. But then I came into the other room, and then I ended up making brownies with Elliot. And like the second I was out there with my kids, I was fine. It also, I think, was hormonal because I was about to get my period. Okay, so that's my emotional low. But then my other low, which is kind of funny. You and I talked about puzzles. You said that you feel like puzzles are sort of like life. And I said, you mean that they're like super tedious and there's no point. It's not how you meant it though. But everyone is so into puzzles right now. I decided, you know what, I'm going to go on Amazon. I'm going to get a puzzle and see if maybe, even though I have never enjoyed puzzles, I could get into them. It's impossible to get anything delivered on Amazon. Is it Edward Gorey or Edwin Gorey?
Don't know.
He's an artist, like very goth looking. I feel like you'd recognize his stuff if you saw it. There was one Gorey puzzle available, and it's like very intricate. It's all black or lighter black or dark gray. It's very monochromatic. I was able to get it delivered. It is 500 pieces. The designs are so tiny that I can't really see it unless I have my reading glasses on, but then I have to be like 8 inches away from everything the whole time. I posted a picture of it. Everyone's like, I love it. You're so goth. I'm like, it's not what I wanted. I would have chosen like Thomas Kinkade or Disney or something like that. So anyway, this puzzle, it brings me no joy. I can't do it. And then Daniel
Wait, have you finished it?
No.
Oh.
No, I've barely done anything. Daniel showed interest in it, and I made the mistake of saying, oh, we should do it together. The thing about Daniel is he is very creative. He has like a very different mind than mine in that he has an engineering, logical, puzzle-solving brain, and he also a little bit has like OCD. So he will stay up until 5 a.m. because he wanted to figure out how to do something, and he was watching YouTube videos, and he couldn't put it down. So now that I've invited him to do my puzzle with me, every time I walk into the house, he's just doing the puzzle. I'm getting cock-blocked by my own husband on the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's letting stuff fall to the waste. If his employers are listening, he's actually not. That I don't really mean that. But I just mean like it's very sticky, in like a sticky application kind of thing. Like he's very into this puzzle. Any progress has been made by him. I have been pushed to the outside of the puzzle. That being said, when he's out of the room, I'll look at it and I'm like, no, this is too frustrating. I can't do it. So
this sounds like a little bit of a Huck Finn thing where, when Tom Sawyer gets him to paint the fence.
Yeah, except that I wasn't trying to get him to do the puzzle for me.
Right. But now that you're seeing him do it, you want to paint the fence.
Yeah. Yes, I don't remember Huck Finn well enough to agree. I mean, I remember there was a whole fence painting thing, but...
Well, it has the N-word in it, which is probably going on in your house also.
I have to say it has not been, and I'm not just trying to earn woke points, but... But did you know that in the eighth grade, my school did an 8th grade musical, and ours was Tom Sawyer, and I was in that musical. And I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to curse anyone, but there was a certain song that to this day still pops into my head. It's a song no one's ever heard of, and it still pops into my head, and I just want to be free of this song.
Say it. Sing it. Let's hear it.
Echo, echo. I hear you over there. When you're in a cave, echoes come from everywhere. Hello, hello, I hear you over there. When you're in a cave, echoes come from everywhere. It's just that.
I think we should take that and use the video and turn it into a meme, but the echo part will make it actually echo.
Ooh, that'd be good. Anyone out there who does memes, hit us up. Well, Greg, we have yammered on almost the whole length of the episode. We do have time to either do some voicemails or some emails. Which would you rather do?
Let's do a couple of voicemails because we haven't hit them in a little while.
Let's do it.
You rang.
All right. And I would like to remind everyone that if you would like to call us, our number is 805-317-4243. So, first of all, just an update. Remember, someone called in a couple weeks ago and shared that they had completely lost their shit with their husband and they felt embarrassed about it.
Oh, yeah, right.
And we're like, well, what did you do? So this person called in to give us an update.
Hey, Alison, I knew you were going to ask how I behaved badly, and I was too ashamed to talk about it last week. But basically, I got really mad at my husband for his tone in an ongoing issue, and I threw a laundry basket across the room into the nightstand, knocked everything over, and screamed at him. And I have never once behaved that way in our entire 15-year relationship, because back in my 20s, I got sent to anger management, I dealt with my shit, I'm pretty calm and collected. But, that was a lot to deal with. The world might end, I might lose my job, I might not be able to pay my mortgage. So I'm giving myself grace to have lost my shit for a minute, but that's how I behaved badly, and I'm pretty sorry about it.
It's interesting that she went to anger management in her 20s, and now that stuff is coming back up. I mean, it sounds like she's got it under control for years and years and years, but all of a sudden, under immense stress, that stuff comes back up.
Yeah. And again, I think that's good. I think it's all about like getting deep into who you are and what's under the hood and what needs to be worked on, whether it's in your relationship or within you personally. And I think it's all about acknowledging it and dealing with it, not hiding from it, not rationalizing it, not being afraid of it, just going, yeah, I'm an angry motherfucker. You know, and saying, I apologize. I got to let out a line there, but you know what? That's who I am.
It honestly sounds, I don't think she thinks it's who she is anymore, though. I think she's saying, but I think she's accepting. Throwing a laundry basket at a bunch of stuff on a nightstand, that sounds so satisfying right now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think it's totally natural. It's like, look, some people are calm, some have a temper. Some people are Scandinavian and some are Italian. And so you got to let that shit out. I mean, I get angry. I haven't been really that angry lately. I can't remember losing my shit in a while. But it feels good when I do, when it's necessary. You know, maybe the boyfriend was, needed a little wake-up call.
Is it a decision to flip the switch and let yourself act out?
I think if you feel safe doing it, and if she's gone to anger management, then she probably knows that you got to take a breath and you got to realize that it's probably triggering something in you. But at the same time, expressing real anger, and if you love somebody, you can accept that that's in them and that that's going to happen sometimes, and it's not going to end the relationship.
All right, here is another call with a question for us.
Hi, Alison and Greg. I love the show. This is Maggie calling from Canada. I have a question. So my partner and I have been together for 3 years. We're not married, but we do plan on getting married one day. It's just not our top priority, having a wedding or anything. We do own a house together, and we want to have a baby. This quarantine has really been, getting that into our minds. My issue is I have a beautiful greyhound. She's an adopted racer. She's not great with kids, which is why I got her, because I got her 7 years ago, and she still has about, 5 or 6 years left of her life. Now, she's not great with kids. Do I wait until, unfortunately, it's her time to move on, until she, takes the final slumber to get pregnant and have a baby? Or do I say, to hell with it, get pregnant in the next couple of years and just see how they adjust? I really don't want to rehome her, but it's the only thing I'm nervous about. Love the show. Any advice would be great. We love you in Canada. Bye.
Love our Canadian listeners.
Me too.
Well, I mean, listen, what does it come down to? It's a fucking dog, And I know there's a lot of animal lovers out there, but do you want your kid to grow up someday and it's like his high school graduation and dad died of old age and he's like, why'd you have me so late in life? Well, we wanted to make sure we could pick up shit from some abandoned animal for another 9 years before having you. No, people love greyhounds. Give it up for adoption, get pregnant, move on with your life.
No.
Alison, your take on it.
I disagree.
That's why we have a podcast together.
That's right.
He said,
I know.
she said.
Oh, have you seen that movie, He Said, She Said, with Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Perkins?
No.
It was one of my favorite movies for a long time. I got to see if it still holds up. I mean, it's like a silly comedy, but I really liked it. Anyway, the first part of the movie is like from one point of view, and then it flips and you see the exact same, like the same things from a different point of view. It's really postmodern in that way. Anyway, no, you made a commitment to take care of this animal. For some people, a dog is like a baby. Did she say how old she is, though? Here's the thing. As
I don't
you
think she said.
know, if you've listened to this show a lot, I did IVF. So to me, a question is, how old are you? What's your fertility like? Do you have, obviously not right now with the quarantine, but in general, do you have the means to like go to if you're sort of on the borderline, 35 or older, let's say, do you have the means to go to a fertility clinic and at least find out what's going on? Because you may be like some of those people who decide to get pregnant and then they get pregnant the first time they have sex, or you may be someone where it's going to take a long time. So I think you got to factor that stuff in. I also think, and I don't want to give irresponsible advice, but I do think dogs can, again, check with an animal behaviorist and a doctor and a lawyer. Dogs who have a certain personality towards other people can be different with their own pack members or their own family members. So you might find that your dog is different with your own child.
Or you may not.
Or you may not. It is quite Could you talk to a animal dog trainer or someone and just get their take on it? Find out what they think about your dog. If you have a dog that like for sure is terrible around kids, that's something to consider. But I would take a more like wait and see how your dog is with your baby approach. So I guess ultimately I'm sort of agreeing with Greg that I don't think you want to wait forever to have a kid, but I think maybe you would be able to make it work with your dog and your child. Again, this is just for entertainment. We're not experts. Okay.
Get rid of the dog. All right.
Certainly don't get rid of the dog before you even get pregnant. Okay, here we have one more.
Hello, Greg and Alison. Greetings from Austin, Texas. My name is Danny. Just giving a little love from quarantine. My particular experience here is interesting. I'm 31 and I've been working really hard for a long time towards the goal of getting my own cookbook deal. And that happened like a week before all of this. So I have the unique joy and challenge, as I'm choosing to look at it, of developing about 100 recipes in a very short amount of time during this quarantine with our food shortage. So my freezer skills are really getting tested, and yeah, just trying to look at it as a challenge. And I am thankful I know how to make my own pasta. I just wish I knew how to ply my own toilet paper. Anyway, hope you guys are hanging in there, and though I am not a mother yet, I am someone's daughter, and I just think the pod is amazing, and hope you guys are doing well. All right, bye.
Well, congratulations, Danny. I think she just called in to brag, and that's okay.
I think to have a project, we've got our pod, you and I each have 3 podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm. I have, between us, I have 2.
Okay. Oh, I thought you did. You do 2 episodes of yours, though, every week. I consider that 2 different podcasts. And they're each kind of different.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I'm part-time job busy, which is fine, but I think it must be kind of cool to be during the quarantine, because it really calls your bluff. Everybody always says, I would write a novel if I just had the time. I would learn how to cook if I just had the time. You got the time. You got it.
Not if you have 2 small kids.
She doesn't have kids.
Right.
This is fucking great. This is like,
I know.
She's actually going to get this thing done. And if this pandemic wasn't happening, it could turn into a nervous breakdown like me writing my book. So this is fantastic for her.
Yeah. Have you ever known someone who is a cookbook author who tinkers on recipes and stuff like that? It's so glamorous.
My wife's cousin does it she's the recipe tester for Martha Stewart.
Oh, cool.
So for Martha Stewart magazine, all the new recipes that go in there, she has to make, remake, tweak, all that stuff. So she's an amazing chef. She studied at Chez Panisse up in Berkeley. And
Neat.
She's, what?
I said neat.
Yeah. And she's worked in some of the best restaurants in New York. And so, and it's really cool. And when she cooks for us, it's always amazing.
Have I told you the story about the guy that I was seeing who was really into cooking, and all his friends are like, has he cooked for you yet? Has he cooked for you yet? And he hadn't. And then one night he did, and it was like very not special at all. It was not good. And
that's
I was
like
just
finding
shocked.
out. That's like finding out that your boyfriend is a porn addict. So then you have sex with him, and it's like, thought you were an expert.
It's just like that. It is exactly like that. I would like to thank everyone for their very nice comments on Apple Podcasts. And I would like to read one because we have nice comments. 5 stars, please. And this is from someone called No More Wendy. And it says, I love their conversations. You can tell they have a true friendship. They make each other laugh. They respect each other. And they both are truly interesting and funny. I have kids, I've lost the ability to speak and read. I have kids, Greg's kids' ages, and we seem to have very similar parenting styles. And I like how he encourages Alison in her parenting. She projects such a love for her kids and an earnest love for parenting. Listen, because it's not a parenting pod. It's 2 cool friends getting together and asking us to hang out with them. I love it.
Nice.
Thank you for that comment. Keep the comments coming. We'll continue to read them, even though Greg doesn't like to read them on the show because he feels like it is
I get
tooting our own
embarrassed.
horn.
I get embarrassed, you know.
I love it. I love a compliment.
But
I take
if you
a
enjoy the
compliment well.
podcast, tell your friends nice things. Let's build
Yeah.
up the listenership as we go into the spring here. And also, my other podcast, well, there's Fitzdog Radio, but then I do another one that I just launched last month called Sunday Papers with my buddy Mike Gibbons, and it's people are loving it.
I know.
So it's now on its own RSS feed. So you, instead of going to Fitzdog Radio, you now go to just search Sunday Papers, and you can find it there.
Nice. And listen to my podcast, Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. Comes out Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays is a one-on-one, and Thursday is a group show. And it is a fun, nice escape, but also we are talking about real stuff. And follow Childish on Twitter and Instagram at ChildishPod. And our website is childishpod.com.
Nice.
We did it again, Greg.
We did it again, Alison.
And remember, in case you tuned in the middle of the show, check us out on video, youtube.com/Alison Rosen. You can find the videos and you can see how beautiful we are.
It's really something to behold.
We're like 2 pieces of art.
I'm
with
Greg
mouth.
Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
And we are
Childish.